Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is behind the steel curtain editor Dave Schofield coming at you. It's Tuesday night. It is barely after 9 p.m. We're starting almost exactly on time. And it's because it wouldn't be the Scho Bro Show if it wasn't for Big Bro Scho himself, my big brother Rich. Rich, how's it going tonight?
It is going wonderful.
Well, good. Good. Everything normal in your household?
What do you consider normal?
Well, no. You know why? I'll tell you this. This is our family show. You don't even know this. Today was not a normal day for me because my 13-year-old daughter had 6 teeth removed. So that just had everything off today, getting her there, having that, dealing with her, with the pain, and now she's doing really well, really, really well. But having to get the lots of Jello and yogurt and ice cream and things like that. So I just kind of felt off all day because I wasn't able to get into my regular routine. So I am excited to get into the routine of being here with you on a Tuesday night. Was that a good segue or not?
Maybe, because the craziness in my house is Kyle finished baseball season on Saturday, and tonight he was going over to the school. Actually, my wife just went to pick him up from basketball.
Oh my goodness, he's already into summer basketball.
They're doing summer, but that only lasts this week. Because next week we're going back to baseball.
So, I thought maybe he was fast forwarding to the fall for golf. So, but you know what?
Too. So
yeah, we love sports. I just got back from coaching a softball game, but you know what? It's NFL 365, isn't it? It really is, because man, the schedule has come out since we talked last. We're going to dive into the schedule because some people complained about this last year, but some other people reached out and told me how much they really appreciated it. So if you want to be a hater, fine. But what we're doing tonight is we're going to talk about the fan experience, and we're going to break down the schedule in a different way. And we're going to look at it of, hey, what are some good games to go? Well, honestly, there's not like there's a bad Steelers game to go see. Anytime you're seeing the Steelers in person, that's a great thing. But what might be the best, depending on what you're looking for, that different things to consider, why some of these matchups might really carry more weight than others. So that's what we're going to dive into. But before we do, since we're going to talk about the schedule, then we don't need to talk about that as one of the news topics. But rookie minicamp over the weekend. Anything significant for you jump out at that you wanted to comment on?
Nope.
No. That apparently there was one undrafted free agent that the Steelers released with an injury designation. One of the corners. I was just getting ready to do an article on him too, and then he got released. Don't know didn't hear anything specific about it, but that might be the only real injury that we've heard about. None of the draft picks, they had anything going on with them. The Steelers signed 4 guys. I'll ask you this one because it's a little bit out there, a little bit off the cuff. Steelers signed a rookie tryout kicker. What do you think of that?
That was interesting.
Yeah.
And released another kicker.
Well, yeah, because they had 2 kickers.
Yep.
They had Sam Sloman, who they had around some last year, but they decided to stick around with the rookie tryout guy. I think Sloman. I think he might have ended up for somewhere for a week or 2 this last season. I can't remember, but he's bounced around. But I didn't even see where this kicker was from, like what college. I haven't even made it that far yet, but I just found it interesting that they kept a kicker. I just was wondering your thoughts on that. So
it's a kicker. Does anybody see him,
really?
What?
No, really coming through and beating out Chris Boswell? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the bosses, somebody could put, firecrackers in his shoes or something and blow his toes off. But
Well,
yeah,
but you never know when you end up with a hammy or a calf or a groin or
oh yeah,
don't want to. So you've got to be prepared in that aspect. So the fact there's two different ways to look at it. You could say, wow, he must have done a really nice job for the Steelers to want him to be the guy to come to training camp over someone that they have some more familiarity with. True. Or the Steelers could say, well, we have some familiarity and it's not like it's that great. So there's some possibility here. Or they could say, hey, no one knows of this guy. Maybe if we want to keep someone around on the practice squad, he's more likely to land there. Who knows what they were thinking? All I know is that there's a different kicker, and I don't even know his name. I don't have it up in front of me. But we'll, you know what? I'm sure we're going to hear about it come the preseason because I'm sure he's going to be getting a chance out there, hopefully still with the team and getting his shot at the NFL, which I think is great. So not really anything else from rookie minicamp, right? Just
nothing major.
Names on the roster, names off the roster. You're going to continue to see that. The Steelers announced today that they officially had a second round interview with Omar Khan. I don't know if there's really anything you want to say about that. We're at least acknowledging it. I couldn't remember. Is he the fourth one they've officially announced or the third one? It's the third or fourth that they've officially announced. I keep getting the reports and the official announcements confused in my head. So that's part of it. But Brandon Hunt has not been an official announced one yet. But I think he will be. I also know that he's interviewed for a couple assistant GM jobs or something similar to that. One was in Buffalo, I think maybe today or yesterday.
It was today.
And then last week, I think he had something with the front office job somewhere else. So very, very interesting stuff. You ready to dive into the schedule and everything?
Let's
schedule
away.
Yeah, let's schedule away. So this is what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do to kind of, I don't want to say that we're downplaying it because depending on where you live, it could be very significant. But last year we kind of brushed over and didn't even talk about the away games. We're at least going to mention the away games because really when it comes to seeing the Steelers on the road, the biggest factor is that what allows you to go see the Steelers? Meaning, if you live on the West Coast and the Steelers happen to be going to the West Coast, which they are not this year because they don't leave the Eastern time zone, at least during the regular season, then that would be really important for you when it comes to looking at these games. So let's just kind of look at some of these games. So I'm going to go through the away games, then we'll come back and hit the home game. Sound fair?
That sounds good.
Well, of course, the Steelers once again open on the road. A lot of that is thanks to the Pirates. Now, could the NFL said, you know what, this is wrong for us to keep making the Steelers go on the road. We're going to put them on Monday Night Football. Yes, they could have done that, but they didn't. And I mean, in Steelers-Bengals is a Sunday night matchup later in the year. They could have made it one of those matchups early, but they did not. That's because I think there's a little bit too much unknown with the Steelers, why they didn't want them primetime opening weekend, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
That's just what I think. But here's my question. What do you think about Steelers fans saying, oh, I want to go hit up that game in Cincinnati? Anything in particular stand out about that one?
The fact that, Cincinnati's not tremendously far from Pittsburgh.
From Pittsburgh.
So, yeah.
And I mean, if you're one of the people that live in Ohio.
You have to go to Ohio.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I have a feeling if you're a Steelers fan wanting to go to this game, this is going to be one of the more difficult ones to go to on the road. I think there's a lot of excitement in Cincinnati. I think it's their home opener. It's going to just imagine how tough it is to get home opening tickets for the Steelers. That's going to be just as much with the Bengals, even though you're like, yeah, it's the Bengals, but we're just in the Super Bowl. There's a lot of excitement. Unless you're someone who lives closer to that area, I could see that would really benefit going to that game. But honestly, if you live that close to where you'd rather be in Cincinnati than Pittsburgh, you're probably a little bit west of Cincinnati. If that's the case, I'd hold off and go to the Colts game. but that's just me, because Cincinnati and Indianapolis are not that far apart. So, anything else you want to say about the Steelers opener on the road fan perspective wise?
Go to the field, and when the Steelers beat the Bengals, you could get a good look at crying Bengals lady.
And yeah, let's say meet crying Bengals lady, watch the Escalooser get fired up, all that good stuff, right?
Yep.
So now the other benefit is if you want to attend the game, that's the first game after the Ben Roethlisberger era.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that, say the first post Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, we can't say it's the Kenny Pickett or the Mitch Trubisky or the Real Mason. We can't say any of those. We can't say any of that when it comes to those. So, but that could be something that's appealing. How about Thursday night in Cleveland?
22nd of September.
That's week 3.
Yep. At least it's in September.
Yeah.
But it's Cleveland.
But I mean, if
believe it or not, Cleveland is not tremendously far from me.
Yeah.
I mean, I drove that far to buy a boat.
Yeah.
But
it's still beyond Pittsburgh. You don't live on the other side of Pittsburgh where it's even shorter. You have to go through Pittsburgh to get to Cleveland. So to me, I'm like, anymore, it's tough for me to go to an away game just because the experience in the stadium, which we'll talk to later. On Thursday night, I mean, if you got a way to get inexpensive tickets, you can have the day off work the next day and you want to go see that game, I could see it. But yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a rare trip. They go there every year. So that's not one that's overly exciting. How about 2 weeks later, 1:00 game in week 5 in Buffalo?
Again, glad that's early October.
Yeah.
Probably, not definitely, but probably not worrying about snow at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo is another one that's actually not a horrible trip for me. Actually,
not a bad trip.
I was invited to go to the game in Buffalo last year, but I couldn't make it happen. Couldn't swing it. That one would not be horrible. That's not a horrible game to go to. Other than the fact you got to go put up with the Bills Mafia, because I think I've discovered that I really am not a huge fan of Buffalo Bill fans.
Typical Buffalo Bill fans. I've met some other Buffalo Bill fans that aren't the crazy ones, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yes.
But some people try to say that about Steelers fans. I'm like, we don't jump through. We don't jump through flaming tables. We just put fries on our sandwiches. All right. There's a difference. So honestly, if you're going to go to Buffalo, it should be because, you're someone, that you live in New York. If you live in New York State, I could see that.
Northern PA.
Yeah.
If you're up in the Erie area, Buffalo's really close.
And I'm sure there's, I don't know if there's anyone here in the live chat, but there's people that's, hey, I'm a Steelers fan. I live north of Pittsburgh. I got a lot of family that's Buffalo fans. So we all go together. Yeah, that's when that's good for. Or that's also a game that you want to wait a game or two into the season and see how things are shaping up and how tickets are, how easy they are to get and everything else. So let's roll on to this away schedule to start. Then you've got week 7 in Miami on, is that a Monday or a Sunday? I can't remember if that was. That's the Sunday night one.
That's a Sunday night.
That's the Sunday night one. Okay. Because I have the date of the 23rd, but I didn't have the 23rd was a Monday. That one to me, that's all about if you're a Steelers fan, if you're from Pennsylvania, if you're an original Pittsburghian, I said the wrong thing. If you're a Yinzer,
there you go.
There's a lot of them that have retired to Florida. Okay, you've got 2 options of games pretty much this year, but you're going to have to travel a little bit unless you're all the way down in Southern Florida. That's one you look at. For fans of the Steelers that are in Florida, they probably wouldn't have like that to be a primetime game. They probably would have preferred that to be, an afternoon game. But still.
Or that's I was thinking about a vacation to Miami.
Yeah.
Let's do it around the Steeler game.
Or even bet, the only problem is, or here you go. A lot of cruises out of the area down there go Sunday to Sunday. Go on a cruise for a week. You get off the cruise and you go check out the game that night, and then you fly home Monday.
There you go.
That's a good one for Miami. Yes. So I've been to Miami 3 times and never left the airport. That's me. So I can say I've been there, but I never left the airport. Then the very next week, the Steelers are at the Eagles. That's an interesting one because I'll be honest with you. If you're a Steelers fan and you live a little bit closer to Philly, chances are you know better than you want to go to that place. Those fans are known for being crazy. They really are. I would say if you're a Steelers fan and you live to the west of Philadelphia, just make the trip to Pittsburgh. To me, this game is set up for the KT Smiths of the world. That's your New Jersey Steeler fans. Yeah. That it's a real big trip there. So if you're New Jersey, that Philly's a good place to go if you're a New Jersey Steelers fan. Other than that, if you live in PA but a little bit closer to Philly, to me, I would make the drive to Pittsburgh. What do you think?
I'd prefer. Yeah, just Philly fans don't rank up there real high for me either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and just I've had some interaction with Philadelphia fans in Washington, of all places. So it's like I couldn't imagine going to that place. I really couldn't. But there's the Pennsylvania rivalry, but these teams play each other so seldomly. It's not like Penguins and Flyers. Right. It's not like Penguins and Flyers. So the next away game, as we go through these, is if you're someone who lives, like I said, if you live in Western Ohio, forget going to Cleveland. Go to Indy. Go to that game. The only problem is it's a Monday night game. And the problem with the Monday night game,
and that was Monday of Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, Monday after Thanksgiving. Yep. So you're probably, when it comes to work and everything, it's probably not the easiest thing to do to also, because if you go to a Monday night game and you have to travel, that you're having to probably take Monday and Tuesday off. Yep. I don't know that everyone would have that, but if that's close to you, that's not a bad place to be. Any thoughts on that one?
Just tough. It's very tough for the away teams fans to go and experience things for Monday night games. It's just difficult.
It is. But sometimes that's a little bit easier to get tickets because sometimes, as I know, as a season ticket holder, primetime games are not easy for people who have season tickets but don't live in the area. Yeah. So sometimes if you're looking to get there more inexpensively, but you got to remember, Steelers are generally a really hot ticket for away teams, in their away games because it's one of those, how do I say it? Like, let's go ahead and look at the next one. The Steelers are playing the Falcons week 13, first Sunday in December, 1:00 game. If you're a Steelers fan in that area, you only get that every 8 years. So that could be one of the biggest selling tickets that the Falcons have all season, just because of the away teams. To me, that's a game I could see Steelers fans really flocking to. Yep. Because I think of Jacksonville, and when you think about it, Atlanta isn't that terribly far from Northern Florida. What do you think?
Yeah, not that terribly far from Northern Florida, but the other thing I'm thinking with Atlanta is the ease of getting in and out to their airport. And then you can actually grab the, I don't know what you call it, train, metro, whatever you want to call it there, right at the airport, and you can get into this, you can get where you're needing to go. It's pretty easy. Like I said, fast in and out. You get a lot of direct flights.
Yeah.
I could see us packing that stadium pretty good.
Yeah. I could see the Falcons doing something to not have, you got to buy tickets to 2 games, or you have to, or packaging that game with a preseason game. Like, who used to do that when the Chargers were in San Diego? They used to do stuff like that where you couldn't buy a single ticket. You couldn't buy a ticket to just that game with the Steelers. You had to buy. They would package it together with either a preseason game or another game that they couldn't sell their tickets to, and that's the only way you could get them, buying them directly there. I could see that, but I that would not be surprised at all to see that dome with lots of black and gold.
Yeah.
For that one, just because it's a different area. Now, when I said I've been to Miami 3 times, it technically would be 6 because,
Okay.
basically 2 weeks, two weeks apart. But what I was going to say is Atlanta's another one of those cities I've never stepped foot in outside of the airport, because that's a big, you said that about that. That's a big way to get there.
I've flown into Atlanta. I've driven into Atlanta, but I've done both.
I've driven around Atlanta.
I've driven into Atlanta to Georgia State, which is
Atlanta
city.
Yeah.
Cool city, fun to get around. If you go check out the World of Coke.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. If you're a Steelers fan and you want a good away experience, the one we just talked about in Atlanta, I think would be neat. And honestly, the other one is the next one.
Yeah.
In Charlotte.
Yeah.
In Charlotte. That's the 1 week before Christmas. That's the only thing with that one.
Yeah. Charlotte, another good city that I've flown into and I've driven into. And again, both pretty good. The airport's a little further out there, but it's not too big a deal. Actually, the stadium's really easy to get to, which is really nice. Actually, I was there for a conference and stayed. I forget which hotel it was, but I was right across the street from the stadium, which was pretty cool. So.
And it's not like there's, with both of these games that we just mentioned, that it's like the big rivalry that the fans can't stand each other. If you want a more pleasant experience in a visiting stadium, those are the 2 that I would recommend for this season. Is Charlotte and Atlanta. But the thing is, they're not all that far from each other, so it's not like. But the Steelers don't travel all that big of a distance. Atlanta is their second longest trip. Miami's the longest.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So the only one left is going to Baltimore on New Year's Day. I will tell you this. I've been to that stadium. I live a little over an hour from that stadium. I live 3.5 hours from Heinz Field. And I think it would have to be very unusual circumstances for me to go to that game. If I could go and be in the press box, I would go. But get credentialed for an away game, but just no. I understand that if that's where you live and that's the only way you can see the Steelers, you suck it up and you do it. But
let me just say,
if you live west of Baltimore, just go to Pittsburgh. I'm just telling you, just go to Pittsburgh.
Let me say this: there's only one good thing about that stadium.
Okay,
the replacements.
Okay. All right.
That's it. That's the only good thing about that stadium.
Of going to the bank is what their fans say. Got to head to the bank. So that's the way. So do you kind of agree? There's some interesting ones there. If I were to rank them in order, I don't know. I'd probably be tied between Atlanta and Charlotte, with probably Indy being the next when it comes to the ones that I would recommend for the away.
See, I'd probably go Atlanta then Charlotte, but see, part of that's because I've been to Atlanta enough and know the things around there to do that you could make a whole weekend out of. It'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. Yep. So now let's get to the ones where we really want to focus on. And part of the reason,
if you go to Atlanta, you got to go eat at the Vortex.
At the Vortex.
And get the
sounds nerdy.
What was it? The double coronary burger or triple corn? I don't know.
You've got. Hey, make sure you know that. Let's see. Let's look at this. What was the date of that game? That's December 4th. So we're probably looking at right around, what is that? November 29th Well, that'll be the date of our show leading up to that one. So make sure you know exactly what people should get then.
Yeah.
So that's something we can talk about.
I'll double check that. You talk about good, like a double cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But instead of a bun that's between grilled cheese sandwiches, and it's topped with like 8 pieces of bacon and a fried egg, and
that sounds. I had something like that at a small hole in the wall cafe outside of Erie, Pennsylvania, and I crushed it.
Yeah.
I'm like, grilled cheese sandwich is the top bun, grilled cheese sandwich is the bottom bun.
Hold on.
Oh, wait, sorry. Grilled bacon and cheese sandwiches is that, and one in the middle. So it was three grilled cheese sandwiches on sourdough bread with the beef patty and the beef patty in between.
There you go.
And
all right, I got to bring this up. Hey, Haas H says, I'm guessing you live in Martinsburg, Maryland, Dave. First of all, sorry, Haas. Martinsburg is technically across the Martinsburg
is in. If you're thinking of that Martinsburg, I don't know of a Martinsburg, Maryland.
No, I don't think
but there's a Martinsburg, West Virginia.
West Virginia,
and that's not far from me at all.
Dave is just north of in Maryland.
Yeah, we have our oldest sister lives just south of that in West Virginia. So meaning like 5 minutes south of that, same county and everything. So some interesting away games. You've got the AFC North ones, and then you've got the Eagles one. That's but the other ones I think are actually kind of intriguing. Now let's talk about the real ones, because the reason I call them the real ones, because Steelers fans know this. Sometimes you have no other choice based on where you live. But I still highly recommend at some point in your life, if you doesn't have to be every year, doesn't have to be all the time, set aside a special occasion to get to Heinz Field.
It might
not be Heinz Field. Depends on the name. Go ahead.
I was looking to see if our friend State of the Steelers was in here tonight. I haven't seen him comment.
Yes, I did.
Oh, did he?
Said I've got tickets, is what he said.
Right. He's got tickets, right? And he comes to Pittsburgh a couple times a year. Saw him at the draft party.
Yeah.
He came up for the draft party from where? San Antonio, Texas.
Yep.
I'm like,
I helped him find his season tickets. Yeah. I helped him find ones that were good. He got them at a good time when the prices were good. See, there he is. He says, "Yes, I'm there." So I mean, even the Steelers are still calling it Heinz Field. There's still some things about with the naming rights. As long as the Steelers.com articles are still calling it Heinz Field, it's going to be Heinz Field to me. That's a subject for another day. Let's talk about these home games. Home opener, 1:00 in week 2. New England Patriots. Rich, what's the advantage of going to that game? What's the selling point there?
It's the home opener.
Exactly.
So, wait, hold on. I got to comment on something real fast. BF Bud, I'll get with you later once I figure out which games I've got.
Yep.
He's saying he needs some tickets again.
Yeah.
So.
I'll be honest with you, BF Bud. I'm going to tell you the truth. When the schedule came out between my brother-in-law there and I, we knew there was 2 games we knew we weren't going to, and 2 other games that we thought, wow, those tickets are probably going to be pretty hot. And I just threw them online for a crazy good price for us, which is what I generally do. And then when they don't sell, I talk to people that listen to the podcasts, and they get the friends and family price. People that contact me through the podcast. But what do you know? All of mine sold. Yeah. The only games I got left, other than preseason, if everyone wants a preseason ticket, I'll give you a super amazing, fantastic deal to that. Meaning, I don't even know if I charge you. If you are really interested, as long as I or my brother-in-law aren't going, that's all I got to check to make sure. Yep. But other than that, we haven't even decided which games we're going to yet between the ones that we have left. We just know the ones we aren't going to because they're sold. That's the way it worked out for us. One of those games that sold is the Patriots game because, home opener, they go for pretty good. And I was surprised that I thought I put really high prices on them and someone bought them. I'm like, if someone's going to pay for them, then I don't mind overcharging Patriots fans as long as I don't know. But I don't overcharge people I know. I just don't do it. I don't feel right about it. Patriots game. What do you have to say about that? Oh, home opener. You've been to a home opener, right? You were at the 2019 one, weren't you?
Yeah. And then wait a minute. What was the home opener last year?
Last year, home opener.
Was that the Broncos?
2. No.
No, who was
That
week 2?
it was the Raiders.
Oh, okay, so yep, I
Yeah.
didn't have the home opener
Yeah,
last year.
I
And
was.
guess what?
I did not.
I don't have the home opener this year.
Yeah,
I know one game that I have and one game that I don't have, and I do
and
not
you don't have the home
Patriots
opener.
game.
Okay.
So
Well, the good thing about this, once again, we love 1:00 games. Tony Defio had an article about one of the Steelers having a lot of 1:00 games, as it should be. You and I have said this for a couple of years.
yeah.
Games 1:00 Eastern, when God intended NFL football to be played, is what I always like to say, because that's that to me, that's what I'm used to. If you're excited for the new season, you're going to pay more for these tickets. You're going to pay more for these tickets. It's not like, oh, they're playing a home opener against a team that they're going to be major underdogs, although they're already minor underdogs to them. Should be a good game. It's not the whole Tom Brady allure or anything as in the past. It's still
the hoodie. It's still the
hoodie. So that should be an interesting one. If you're interested in going to that one, as long as you understand those tickets are higher tiered than the other ones, go for it. It's a 1:00 game. It might be a little warm. Still a good time to go. Then the next time the Steelers are at home, this is what I'm thinking. I might be at this one. It depends on if my brother-in-law or our brother-in-law wants this one or not. We still have to divide. I'll either be at this one or a different one. But this is week 4 against the Jets. Now, here's the big one about this. This is the Steelers coming off a 10 days rest because they played Thursday the week before. To me, depending on how the first 3 games go and who is starting off the season at quarterback, this could be where it could be somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
A lot of people, after seeing the schedule, are saying, they've got 3 games in 11 days. Maybe after the mini bye would be a good time if Kenny Pickett's ready to get him going. But like I say, if Kenny Pickett's the one that's ready and the other 2 aren't, then you go with Kenny Pickett. Yep. If they're all ready, even including Kenny Pickett, I don't know that I'd go with him to start off at the beginning. We're going to learn a lot more of this come August. So that'll be more topics to talk about. But if you're thinking, I don't know if Pickett's going to start right away, this is one of those first opportunities where you could see him if you're interested in that. Plus, you're talking about October. You're talking 1:00 kickoff. That's my wheelhouse right there. I love October games, 1:00 kickoff. So
can't go wrong with those.
Yeah. So and here's the one thing. The one thing that was, and Wes, I see your comment. I will definitely do that. The thing that gets me is sometimes I get nervous when it's a game, when you look at the whole schedule and you think that it might be the easiest one for him to win at home. I hate to say it. I really do. The Steelers are only favored in 2 home games right now. This is one of them. So for that reason, it's great thinking you could go and see a victory. But I've been to games that the Steelers were favored to win pretty good. I don't know last time Tampa was there. I know Brian Anthony Davis always says that. I talk about that one. And it's kind of miserable losing a game like that when you go in thinking that it should be a win. So that's the one downfall to a game like that. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah. Because if you go and lose, you are really down.
Yeah, because sometimes it's nice going to a game that you're like, it's going to be a tough game. And as long as the Steelers are in it and close, even if they don't win, it would be a big deal for them to win it. Like when I went to the Patriots game in 2018, correct? Wasn't 19? No, that was 18. When the Steelers defeated them 17-10. That was one of those, I just don't, I don't want to go to a game and get trounced, but I'm like, they're not going to get trounced. They're going to be in this game and maybe even pull it off. And they did. And I was so excited. Those are good games to go see too. So there's that one. Let's keep moving. Then they go to the Bills. We talked about that. Here's the hottest ticket of the season. Did you know this, Rich?
Oh,
this is the hottest home game.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
This is October 16th. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is likely, if he's still playing, Right now you're assuming he is, and you're assuming that he's not going to switch to an AFC team or another NFC team in the coming years that would come back to Pittsburgh. Right now, you have to be thinking this is probably Tom Brady's last trip to Heinz Field.
Yeah.
So I was at Tom Brady's last trip to Heinz Field, and I would love for that to have been the last one. But this, if you want to go to this game, you're going to pay for it. I'm going to tell you right now. I know State of the Steelers. He already told me he was going to that game. And I'm like, that's a good one. That's a good one to go to. It really is. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, that would be a good one to go to. And actually, because I kind of put it out there to Kyle, once I found out, once the person I share the tickets with, once they picked the game, he kind of wanted us to pick one that we wanted. Kyle considered that one, but based on some of the sports schedule stuff, he switched to a different one.
Gotcha. So the question is, did he switch to the next one? Because the Steelers are home. That's October 16th. They don't play again at home until the second Sunday in November.
And that is the one that he chose.
And that is the other game, either the Jets game or this one. I will be at one of these two games, I'm pretty sure. Because I'll have one, my brother will have the other, because the other two are later in the season. So coming off the bye, the Steelers are hosting the New Orleans Saints at 1 o'clock. This is the other game where the Steelers are favored this year. What do you think about this game? I think Kyle made a good choice.
Coming off, it's coming off the bye, so everybody should be nice and rested and hopefully have guys healthy, and that's part of it. I don't know. Kyle was, part of what helps us this year is all the 1 o'clock games. So that's very helpful.
Yes, I love it.
And, Kyle, when we've gone to games, he's tended to go to games earlier in the year. So this one's going to be nice to go to one at least into middle of November. So, Alexandra, she went with us to that Buffalo game that we drove home in the snowstorm. That was
crazy. Question here real quick I want to bring up from Mark Tobin. He says, do we have a late bye week? We have an average bye week, meaning, the Steelers, which therefore to me, Steelers fans experience the bye week as well. To me, if I'm going to have a weekend where I think about scheduling something with the family, it's going to be when they're on bye. It is week 9. They were really close to getting that double-digit bye. I predicted week 9. Week 9 is not bad. I would have between 9 or 10. I would have preferred 10, but week 9, you get those 8 games in, you got to buy. It's really a good breaking point of the season. With 17 games, to me, you're going to add in. I still split the season up in quarters, and I like to do still 4 games to start and 4 games to finish. So last year I want to throw that extra game in one of those middle quarters, and it made it all where the bye was dependent on where that break was going to be. So it's not a bad bye week. Could it have been better? Sure, but it wasn't bad. So I'm not complaining about that at all. I think last year was week 7, and that was supposed to be considered okay. Yep. But so 2 weeks later than that, I will take that. And that I don't think anyone has a bye week 12. No, I don't think they give anyone a bye week to Thanksgiving. But then you come back and they still have buys after Thanksgiving. But we're not Thanksgiving yet. To me, real quick, one last thing on the Saints game. If you're looking for one, this is a good one. I highly recommend this game for several reasons. One, it's an opponent that doesn't come to Heinz Field very often. 2, it's not like there's a big rivalry with the fans of that team that you're going to have to worry about feuding fans or anything like that. 3, coming off the bye week, if you're someone who wants to see the next era, to me, there are three prime places for one Kenneth Shane Pickett. It's Shane, right? Yeah. To make his debut, if he's going to make it in 2022. I'm not saying he's definitely going to, but if he does, it could be week 1. To me, the next 2 best places are week 4 after the mini bye or week 10 after the bye.
After the bye. Yep.
So if you're trying to bank on that now when we know nothing, those are the ones you could go with. So to me,
and I will make a statement.
Highly recommend this game.
Real quick. Sherry Richards had hopped on there and had made a comment that, Kyle shouldn't go to that game given what his record has been in the past. Although I will say this, Kyle went 2-0 last year.
He went 2-0 last year.
Went 2-0
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah. So sometimes now, has he gone every year or has it been an every other year thing? Because maybe it's an even odd year. I don't know. We'll have to look into breaking down the numbers of Kyle's streak. I might have to get all his exact games.
There you go. There you go. That's a
that.
stat geek in itself right there, isn't it? Right.
Yeah. And here, it's funny because Wes says 4:25 is my favorite time slot also. When it goes to going to the stadium, 4:25 is not bad. You know why I like 1 o'clock better?
Because you have to drive 3 hours when you're done.
Yeah. And I could drive 3 hours. I could even stop at the casino for an hour and still not be too late. 4:25 games, I don't have that option. I don't have that option. I got to get home. So honestly, that's part of it with me. So yeah. So hey, my goal, sometimes I stop at the casino, play a little bit of blackjack, and next thing you know, my parking and gas money's taken care of thanks to the house. That's what happened last time we went to it. Try to remember last year we went to oh my goodness, how did I forget this? You and I, they won. It wasn't Denver because we were both there, but I had my son at that one. Why can't I remember what the game was we went to? You know it too, don't you?
Who, me?
Yeah. Yeah, it was later in the year. It was November or December. Rich, I'm blanking. You've got to help me.
Dave.
What game was it last year?
It was the second time we did this because the first time was the infamous.
Oh, it was the Titans. It was the Titans. I forgot that. I don't know why that escaped me real quick. Yeah, we were at the Titans game last year because it was Joe Hayden tackling through the ball. Didn't even let him extend it. That game was a beautiful game. So all right, we got to get back to what we're doing. So I've already given my endorsement to the Saints game. Then the Steelers, that they have back-to-back home games, but the next one is a primetime game. Yep. That's Sunday night against the Bengals. I'll be honest with you, out of the 3 primetime spots, Sunday night's better than Thursday and Monday, in my opinion. You've been to Sunday night games, right?
Yep.
You were even there last year. This one, if you're one of those people that said, I've been to Heinz Field, I want to go again, but I want to go prime time. There you go.
I'm going to be there at night, see the stadium all lit up, everything like that. That's a good game to go to.
Yeah. And you were talking about it being the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Now, some places, kids that are in school, they have the whole week off of Thanksgiving. My kids aren't like that. Do you kids get the whole week off of Thanksgiving? No. But I know plenty of places that they do get the entire week off of school Thanksgiving. If that's the case, that's a good game to go to if that's your life situation. And honestly, if you're looking for less expensive tickets, to me, that, especially in the secondary market, that's when you're going to find some people that are just, I can't go to that one. It's prime time. So that's the advantage of that one. I also am thinking, no, because that might be the one where they're the biggest underdog at home, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Then the Steelers hit the road for 2 weeks in a row, back to Heinz Field, December 11th, week 14, hosting Baltimore. What are your thoughts on that game as a user experience?
If you want to go see what I call, the slobber knocker of games, go to that game.
See, our brother-in-law, who I share my season tickets with, he wants the Ravens games all the time. I don't. I get nervous enough with the Ravens games, watching them at home. And the only time that I've watched them in Heinz Field against the Ravens was that playoff game where I saw Ben Tate come in and start.
That's another game I probably won't get, only because the person I share tickets with knows he can get rid of them because he has a friend who is a Ravens fan.
Yeah, because he lives, the person who you share your tickets with lives very close to me. So we're living close, with a lot of Ravens fans around here. So to me, if you want division rivalry and you want a 1 o'clock game, there's your game. That's your game. If you want that experience, that's your game, in my opinion. Then the next one, I'm not going to preach on this one. I already did. Saturday night football 8:15 Christmas Eve against the Raiders. Now that's really neat. Coming off the Immaculate Reception, I still thought if they wanted to make this game extra hyped, this is a night game after a whole day of football on Christmas Eve. Almost all the rest of the schedule is on Saturday. There's 3 games on Sunday, 1 on Monday, 1 on Thursday. Everything else is on Saturday. So it's not like it's a standalone game. I would have loved for them to, and I did an article on it, so I'm just going to say it very briefly. I would have loved nothing more for the NFL to have done a whole big thing around that Immaculate Reception. I know some people are like, well, people outside of Pittsburgh don't care, but there's enough Steelers fans that it'll pay off for you. Do everything around that. Do the ceremony in the afternoon at the time it occurred out there in the parking lot, but it's where it's not affecting the game, and play the game Friday night. If that game was the only game of the day and it was Friday night where the next day's Christmas Eve, I would have gone. I wouldn't have sold those tickets. I'd have been there. I'd have said, I'll do the prime time. I'm going to that because I have all day Christmas Eve to recover and everything else. There was zero chance I could go to a game at 8. I'm just trying to be able to watch this game. And when I asked this as part of our Friday Night Six-Pack article at BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, your one-stop shop for all things Pittsburgh Steelers, there was a lot of people that are like, I can't even do it. What's that? What's that? What's that?
Never mind. No matter what, I'm screwed.
Yeah. Why's that?
Well, there's either I go to that game when I really don't want to go, or I have to be at home and watch that game and write the knee-jerk reaction article, which then takes away from my traditional Christmas Eve at home.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the thing. NFL, you're screwing me.
It's screwing with my family traditions. I mean, not everyone celebrates Christmas, and not everyone goes gung-ho crazy over Christmas. If you don't have little kids and you have the freedom to do various things, if you're like Christmas with the Cranks where you're going to go on a cruise on Christmas Day anyway or something like that, or you can do various things and you don't have those kind of traditions, go to this game. Go to this game. But to me, it's a very niche market for people that are going to attend this game. I would not be surprised to see the emptiest that we've seen Heinz Field all season in this game, just because people are like, I can't do that. If you live in Pittsburgh, go.
Believe it or not, the stadium's going to be full.
I hope so.
The stadium's going to be full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kathy brings up a good point. Kathy Ford says the airfare will be horrendous because of right there around Christmas time. I mean, if you're going in, you're spending Christmas Day either, unless you have family in Pittsburgh, then you're spending it in a hotel or an Airbnb or something like that to do that. So
says all I ever wanted was a Steeler game for Christmas. Yeah. As long as they win, that will be the other thing is some of these tickets will go because it will become a Christmas gift / experience.
Yes.
So
if you want that experience, perfect. And you could probably get good tickets for it.
Yep.
Because there's going to be plenty of season ticket holders that can't go to that game. I was one of them. I was like someone actually bought my tickets. I couldn't believe it. So, and I didn't have them marked down. I had them for a good price, but I was willing to give some pretty good friends and family price for that one. That's why I couldn't believe that happened. So to me, that takes a very specific type of fan to go to that one, because I mean, even someone covering the Steelers, I'm still going to have to be getting other things done while that game's going on. So you and I might have to tag team by quarter if you need some help with that article in order to help you do some other stuff. So that way, not one person's overwhelmed too much. Almost done here, Rich. That's the next to last home game. The final home game. The only problem with the final home game, which is, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably going to be at that one unless my brother-in-law wants it. But I assume he's going to want the Ravens one, so I'll probably be at this one. Is one, you're talking January in Pittsburgh. Two, they have a TBD. And here's the other thing I got to remember. They don't even have the date. The NFL was looking at this game as one of the ones they can put on Saturday of Week 18. I wouldn't be opposed to that terribly if it was on Saturday. Most likely it's going to be Sunday at 1, but it's not definitely even Sunday. So that's one that I think is going to change, is depending on how the season's playing out. how meaningful was that game to both the Steelers and the Browns? Because I didn't say it, they're hosting the Browns. And what time it's ultimately going to end up being played. That one's just a big question mark. But because of the question marks, if you can pick up some tickets for cheaper and you're flexible, I like going to the last game of the season, even when it wasn't Ben Roethlisberger. I saw the Steelers win in overtime. Landry Jones I think it was Kobe Hamilton winning it in overtime, and it was exciting. My wife loved it. So that's one of those things. So we are really running over as we broke this down. So I'm going to ask Rich the final question. Remember, if you answer the final question before I type it in, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just not going to acknowledge it until it's already up there. Home, away, whatever. Now, this is regular season. I know, obviously, the best thing would be the Super Bowl with the Steelers in it. Duh. We know that. But, Rich, of the 2022 Steelers regular season game, if you had one to pick to that you think would be the one you want to go see the most or would be the best experience going to it, which game is it?
All right. Well, I'm copping out and saying the one that I know I'm going to. That would be the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'm giving the same answer, but for a different reason. Okay. I think that's a really good game. November, there's a chance that things could be there could be that transition time right there. But a very close second is the Jets for the same reason. I kind of already said that. So I already have that. It's going out. It's there. It's sent.
There it is.
And there that we'll bring it up. Which one do you all think, if you could pick only one game to go to this year, which one would you pick? Of course, I know a lot of people are going to want to say why, but we're just going to read which game because we don't have a lot of time. If you said why or not. Kathy said Saints for me. So that's Heinz Field. You might be an away game, and I understand if that's you. So any of them are there. George Teston says Tampa Bay. That's a good one. There's really no bad ones. Oh, Johnny Bravo's brave and says Philly. Wants to go to Philly. Wants to go into that territory. Steeler Chick 46 says home Tampa Bay. George Rice says Raiders. What a Christmas present. That's a good point. Tyler W says the Bucks game, October. Steelers Freak says Raiders. Yeah, like I said, that's going to be one of those games you either would love it or you're like, no way. Mark Tobin did ask if we're ever going to get an international game yet. The Steelers are kind of waiting to go to Mexico. The biggest problem with that is some people are like, put one of their home games there. The Steelers have a lease with the stadium about having 10 games each season. At least they did several years ago. So it makes it really difficult. They would have to be the away team with a lot of these. State of the Steelers says the one he's going to, Tampa Bay. BF Bud says the Raiders. Rich, if you have that Raiders game, might not want to go. BF Bud might be your guy.
Yeah. Yep.
And of course, someone said exactly what I said. We know what the obvious answer is, but yet someone thinks they have to be funny and type it in anyway. Brian Brown says the Ravens. Sherry didn't say which one. I'm assuming at Heinz Field because he didn't say at Ravens. Sherry Richards says Atlanta. Like I said, that would be a good away game to go to.
That's a good away game.
Matt B says Ravens at Heinz. Okay. Shrek Johnny's friend says Raiders. Dusk Thunder says the home opener. Give me New England. Okay. Charmingly sophisticated S. Did I get that right? I think I did. So. Raiders, like I said, people are that's one of those you either love it. If you've never been to Heinz Field and this is going to be your experience, that makes for a really good experience. If you're someone that goes to a game or two every year, that it's just different. It's just different. And it's so hard to do. So I skipped, sorry. From Facebook, Josh Parker said a bunch of stuff about driving, but he says he's got to say the Tampa Bay game. Wes says New England or Tampa. Is it Brady or is it Belichick? That's the question. Go. So Sean Manhan says home against the Bengals. Okay. Will Frank says going to Buffalo. He says the Bills. Mark Tobin says Miami. If you want to go for a vacation, that would be a good one to go. I would plan a vacation around that. Okay. Demetrios says Bucks at home. Steelers Pittsburgh says Tampa. James Galloway says Ravens. Russ. Hey, Russ. Good to see you, Russ.
Yep.
Bengals at their stadium. And he says he's going to that one to the Ravens. Oh, because he's only 45 minutes from Baltimore. But Russ he's made some games there while we've been there. We just have never made it on the same page to meet up. Let's see. Wait a second. I already got Shrek Johnny's friend. Okay. Will Frank gave an explanation that I'm just going to say. He says the reason he's saying the Bills is because he's like, that's going to tell us if we're Super Bowl material. I'm glad it's not week 1, although the Bills have a chance to get better. We really don't know what to expect from the Steelers team this year. Okay. I also like this one from Bart. Bart Mackey says, just any of them. He'd take any game.
Give me a game. Yeah. Good point.
I love that. That's a great point. Okay. Greg W. says the Pats. And then Sherry Richards says the Legends will be there for the Raiders game. I'm going to tell you, they say they will, but if you're a Legend, do you really want to be out there Christmas Eve night? The rest of the family being upset that you're there? They will be, I'm sure, but at the same time, yeah.
I bet you Mel Blunt's there.
Yeah. Yeah, you loved hearing your experience with Mel
gosh.
Blunt was just so great.
That was.
Yeah.
So. All right.
So there we go. That's the show. Hey, I've got to tell you this now before we go. Of course, you've got to check out all our other podcasts. Please check out, if you don't check out the audio podcast, if you're on YouTube or Facebook Live, check out my Steelers Stat Geek on Thursday. I really have to promote my own show. I've got a guest. I've got a really good guest, and it's not all geek. It's intriguing stuff. I'll just say this. If you're someone who's ever looked at the NFL Next Gen stats, don't miss my show on Thursday morning, Steelers Stat Geek. It should be a good one. But really don't miss any of the shows with your Let's Ride and the Cutting Room Floors, the other morning shows during the week. You got the noon lineup. You've got the YouTube shows every day except Saturday. So we give you 2 on Friday, 2 on Sunday. Lots of good, great stuff. And of course, BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. Make sure you're checking out the written word. Lots of great discussions. Message boards have really been going lately. The comments have been rolling good. You know, with all these things, when I say rolling good, rolling well, it sounded really good. Really good English there, wasn't it? They're really some really good discussions because a lot of people have some opinions of strong opinions of how the Steelers can handle stuff. Rich, what do you want to say to close out the show?
You know, we did this show last year. I'm glad we did it again this year because now I've actually started thinking about games in the stadium. It actually starts to get me excited again. So, Steeler football, Heinz Field. Can't wait.